It all starts with Mickey in a bar where he's on the phone with his wife. Suddenly, a hitman comes up behind him and a shot is fired. Then we meet Raymond, Mickey's right-hand man who is at his house. There he meets Fletcher, a stranger and smug journalist who works for Dave, the editor-in-chief of a famous tabloid. Dave wants to get back at Mickey by writing an article about him because Mickey refused to shake his hand at his last meeting, making him look like a laughing stock in front of people. All because Dave wrote an article about Mickey's buddy who was having an affair with his butler. Dave offers Fletcher £150,000 for dirt on Mickey, but Fletcher demands that Raymond pay him $20 million. After that, the journalist tells him all the information he has learned about Mickey, a notorious criminal baron involved in the illegal sale of illegal substances. Born into poverty, Mickey strived to succeed, accumulate wealth, and achieve power. He studied at an elite university, but at some point decided to drop out and start selling substances. He did not hesitate to go over the heads of those who tried to interfere with his business. When Mickey reached a significant position in the world of crime, he sought to sell his high-priced substance business so he could retire in peace and devote his time to his wife, Rose, who was the dearest person to him. Recently, a millionaire named Matthew offered him $400 million for his enterprise. Mickey brought him into one of his laboratories and proudly demonstrated how majestic and successful his production facility was. His team grows substances in the basements of impoverished aristocrats who need money to maintain their historic properties. Matthew marveled at Mickey's business. Everything was working efficiently, and most importantly, Mickey was able to produce high-quality substances, the price of which was steadily rising. The only thing that put Matthew on edge was the prospect of selling such a successful enterprise. Mickey reasoned that the cops would eventually find out about his dealings with substances, and because of his criminal dealings, the business would be ruined in a heartbeat. Mickey has a charming wife, Rosa, who successfully runs a car repair business. One workday, a thug nicknamed Dry Eye brings her some parts. Suddenly, Dry Eye begins to take an interest in Mickey's business. The woman laughs at him and says he certainly doesn't have enough money. In response, the bandit decides to give Rose a carload of car parts to arrange a meeting with her husband. Later, Dry Eye offers a huge sum for the business, but Mickey does not think it is enough. The bandit behaves defiantly, responding with insults and threats, forcing Mickey to shoot his household.
When the lion's hungry, he eats.
However, these were all Fletcher's fantasies. In fact, Mickey simply let the bandit know that he was way out of line with the criminal mastermind. That same night, a group of masked young men broke into Mickey's lab. They beat the guards and stole large quantities of substances, then uploaded videos of their exploits to YouTube. One of the guards informs Mickey of this and informs him that the bullies were well trained in boxing. Mickey immediately realizes that they are just ordinary bullies doing someone else's bidding. It turns out they were a gang of teenagers known as the punks who are trained by a well-known professional fighter everyone calls Coach. Coach was aware that their act could hurt a powerful person, so he ordered his students to remove the video immediately. In the meantime, Raymond was trying to figure out how the bullies knew about the lab. After the theft, Mickey approached the aristocrat. He asked for help to move the substances secretly to a safe house. The man agreed, but also asked for a favor in return. It turned out that the aristocrat's daughter had recently disappeared. The man knew about her addiction to substances and begged Mickey to bring her back. That same day, Raymond and his guards managed to discover her whereabouts. He tried to resolve the conflict peacefully and even managed to convince the girl to return home, but her friends didn't like it. The guards overreacted a bit, which led to the death of the Russian teenager, who fell from the balcony. At the time, the teenagers were filming everything on their phones. Raymond noticed this and started following them with security to protect Mickey from possible trouble. He offered to buy an overpriced phone, but the teens decided to just rob him. Raymond was forced to use a gun to scare them off and destroy the evidence.
Right.
After returning the girl to her parents, Raymond informed Mickey of everything that had happened. They found out that the dead teenager was the son of a Russian billionaire and former KGB officer. Later, the coach learns that the lab his boys robbed belongs to Mickey. That same day, he finds Raymond and apologizes, taking the blame and promising to return all the stolen goods. The coach offers Raymond his loyalty and service as repayment. Raymond agrees and instructs Coach to find out who tipped his boys off about the location of the lab. The next day, he brings in Dry Eye's right hand. Just as Raymond wants to interrogate him, the bandit tries to escape but is killed under a train. Mickey and Raymond suspect a Chinese crime boss named George, for whom Dry Eye worked. Mickey threatened George for robbing his merchandise. The Chinese authority figure lost his business. During the conversation, Mickey's men were burning down George's labs. Later, the big shot learned that Dry Eye was to blame. The bandit decided it was his time to be the leader, after which he cold-bloodedly eliminated George in the back. Even though Dry Eye has become the leader of the Chinese gang, he still wants Mickey's business. Soon, Mickey is in a bar talking to his wife on the phone and realizes that people have broken into Rosa's office, threatening her life. Just then, a hitman approaches from behind and a shot is fired. Luckily, Raymond was nearby. He saved the boss, after which they went to Rosa. Dry Eye tried to kidnap Rosa, but she successfully eliminated his guards. Enraged, the bandit attacked her, but Mickey came to the rescue. Rosa greeted her husband, and he silently shot the bandit. Then, Fletcher reveals that he had been following Matthew. It turns out he had teamed up with Dry Eye and sought to destabilize Mickey's business in order to buy the labs for times less. After gathering all the evidence about Mickey's business, he came to Raymond to get a higher payment than Dave had promised. Surprisingly, Raymond seems confident and sends Fletcher, but the reporter gives him 72 hours. The next day, the little kids kidnap Dave. Coach calms him down and explains that they have dirt on him by recording his indecent actions with hidden cameras. The coach warns Dave that if he doesn't leave Mickey alone, his exposure will be posted on YouTube. Then, Mickey and Matthew meet to discuss buying the business. Matthew tries to lower the price, but Mickey shows Dry Eye's body and proves Matthew's treachery. He demands $270 million for business. Immediately, Mickey brings up Rosa, explaining that for threatening her life, Matthew will lose his hand. A few days later, Fletcher visits Raymond again, demanding $20 million for the information he provided. Raymond reports that he put a tracking device in Fletcher's shoes and has been tracking him. The Cubs took all the material that might have threatened Mickey. The trainer thinks he has paid his debt in full since he bailed them out 3 times. Then he discovers the assassins outside Raymond's house. Soon, Fletcher confesses that he sold information about Mickey to the father of the murdered Russian teenager, a former KGB agent. Raymond quickly warns Mickey not to get in the car, but it is too late. He has been kidnapped at gunpoint. At this point, Raymond hears gunshots and sees the coach save him for the 4th time. Suddenly, the toddlers start shooting at the bandits and save Mickey. A few days later, Fletcher decides to sell information about Mickey on local television. Afterwards, he takes a cab and is horrified to find Raymond. That's all for today. Subscribe and like it if you want more videos like this.